I'm gonna get started. So here we are, Thursday night, but this is video number 3. Okay, so video number 3, I want to talk about the Neti pot, and that's spelled Neti pot. And so the Neti pot is a sinus rinse, and there are many different types of sinus rinse. You can use the Neti squeeze or a Neti pot. So Neti pot is actually an ancient practice, and so I am very serious when I say that you can cure your sinus issues using the Neti pot. And speaking from experience, my son had to get 1 allergy shot a week. So I had to take him weekly to get allergy shots. Myself, I would get actually 3 a week. And when I started using local raw honey and the Neti pot, we no longer had issues. And so Neti pot is something that I started using a long time ago. Hey, Miguel. And so the Neti pot, this is my Neti pot. It's a steel Neti pot. So this is actually the one that I would recommend, and you can find it on Amazon. And if you want, I'll actually post in the comments the link for this one. Now they come in many, also many styles: ceramic, plastic. You can get the plastic ones easy, like Walmart, Walgreens, any of CVS, Save On, any of those local places. Yeah, the link, I'll post it in the comments. I don't have the link right now, and the phone is out of my reach. But I will post it in the comments after, once I post the recording. This is the one I recommend though, because steel does not have pores. So bacteria will not grow in a steel Neti pot. So you can use it again and again, and I've had this one for more than a decade. And so the ceramic ones that and clay were the ancient types of Neti pots. And you can see them, they look just like a little teapot, but it's a Neti pot. And so the purpose now has become that this is a sinus rinse, right? But when I was doing research for my patients, because I really wanted to tell them more about the history, it is millennia old. And anciently, the monks of Tibet would use this, and it was believed that doing this rinse would actually clear congestion around the third eye. So it was a pre-meditative preparation that they would do to clear congestion away from the third eye and the ajna, the brow chakra. Now remember, the third eye is not a chakra at all. The ajna is. And so it would clear the congestion around those spaces, and you would have a more elevated meditation. Now that, I don't know about the sinus congestion related to that, because I have good experiences, but I would say definitely if you have congestion in the upper sinuses, this is definitely the way to go. Now I'm going to show you how I use it, because I don't care if you see me cleaning out my nose, but I want to show you the proper use of it. And I will say, do not use tap water. Even filtered water I wouldn't recommend, because a lot of times the filtered water can carry bacteria. I would recommend distilled water. So I use distilled water, and this is the mug. I put it in there, and then I heat it up in the microwave. 30 seconds brings it to body temp for me. So it's nice and warm right now. Now, you cannot use just clear water. It needs to be salt water. So I use the Soleil for my Neti pot rinses too. So as you can see, I use the Soleil for lots of things. And the Soleil was the first video I did. And I used it yesterday when I talked about the oil pulling. I used the Soleil to rinse after I oil pull. So now I also use the Soleil in my water for the Neti pot. Now, any other type of Neti pot has pores, so bacteria can grow in it. You have to be really careful to keep it super clean in between uses. The least safe would be the plastic, but that's also the easiest to acquire. So if you want to get one, make sure you clean it super well with hot water in between uses, and let it dry really thoroughly also between uses. Okay? So I'm gonna put my hair up. Does anybody have any questions so far? Distilled water, Soleil. Now you can, when you buy a lot of the neti pots, they come with these saline packs, okay? And you add it to the water. I find the saline packs to be really intense, and they actually agitate the nares and the very delicate tissue of the nasal passages, and it can even burn. So I actually don't recommend that. I would recommend using, and so even using like the very finely crushed sea salt and dissolving it perfectly in there. But the Soleil, if you're using Soleil, 2 teaspoons is what I use in a mug this size, and you're gonna see right now because I'm gonna do it. So it's distilled water, 2 teaspoons of Soleil, and then you rinse, but I'll show you how to use it right now. So this is something that I used to actually teach to my patients at the clinic, and I don't, like, my sinuses right now are not congested, so it'll come right through. You'll see how it works. But do not use it if your sinuses are completely blocked. It can actually be dangerous. If you use the neti pot when your sinuses are completely blocked, you can actually force water into your eustachian tubes and cause like middle ear issues or damage. So do not, if you cannot breathe, like if it's completely clogged, do not use a neti pot. This is good for congestion, or like if you snore when you sleep. I've even recommended it for my patients that had sleep apnea, and it did alleviate some of those symptoms. And so here we go. Now I'm gonna add the Soleil first. So it's a mug of distilled water. I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of Soleil to make it salt water, okay? So I just do 1, 2, I stir it. If you don't wanna see me sticking this in my nose, then this is where we say goodbye. So I pour it then into the neti pot. And a lot of times, if you have a really sensitive gag reflex, I would recommend gargling salt water first so that you don't start gagging. Because if any water trickles down the back of the sinus passages into the throat, you can gag, and you don't want to do that. So here I am. I poured a little bit out to warm up the nozzle so that when I stick it in my nose, it's not cold. But what you're gonna do is tilt your head completely sideways, and you're gonna breathe through the mouth, but open mouth, breathing good, so that way it keeps the water in the upper sinuses. If you don't breathe, it could actually go down the back of the nasal passages into the back of the throat, and you could gag, right? So breathing keeps it where it needs to be. So. And then you could just repeat with the other side. If you want, you can use the whole neti pot for all of it and not repeat, but I usually go from side to side. Blow it out, then blow your nose. Isn't this lovely? Any debris or congestion comes out of the nose. And so that helps. It actually will even help people if you've lost your sense of smell to keep the nasal passages clean. I like doing this before I sleep. I don't have issues with breathing when I sleep. I just like sleeping like that. And So I usually do this before I sleep. I used to do it every single night. I don't do it every night anymore. It's just like the oil pulling and the drinking of the Soleil. When your body, the maintenance of your body has been kept up so well and your body is already maintaining itself, you don't really need to do these practices all the time. So like I can feel it, say I've been hiking, right? And it was very windy and I feel like I've got a lot of debris. Or campfire. It's because you're breathing with your nose and the nares in the nose are what catch all that debris. So this just clears all the debris out of your sinus cavities. But the neti pot is really good for clearing those upper sinuses. And like I said, historically, it was meant to be a pre-meditative cleanse that would clear congestion around the ajna and third eye. Does anybody have any questions? I know that was really attractive to watch. So, of course, ideally you would do it into the sink, not a bowl. But I did that for the video so that you could actually see it. Does anyone have any questions? Or is everyone gone? Bueller? No questions. Okay. Have a beautiful night. And that's the neti pot. Netipot. Amanda says, I missed the beginning. Okay, so there's different types of neti pots. So historically they were clay and ceramic. You can really easily find plastic ones at like any local drugstore or Walmart I know carries them. And they're in the pharmacy section under all the nasal stuff. The one I get, this is actually stainless steel, and this was on Amazon. I got it. That was the cheapest place because they do have their own website, but it's more costly. I bought this more than a decade ago and I paid $16 for it. I don't know what they are now, but I will definitely get the link because I know I saved it. I saved the link so that I could send it to people. So I know I probably still have that link saved for Amazon. So I'll just check to make sure that it's still there. But I like this. I actually bought them for me and my kids. And I taught my kids how to use it when they were really small. So smaller children can use a neti pot too. If you have a kid that's has a lot of issues with their nose getting irritated or runny, it's really good. It's really good for chronic nosebleeds. It's really good for that too. Patty says, I had known about them for a while, but never knew about the third eye part. Thank you for that sharing. Yeah, and I came across that when I was doing research for my patients because I wanted them to start using that. So yeah, isn't that interesting? So Amanda, what I was saying about the different types, the stainless steel is the only one that is not a porous surface. So you don't have to worry about the neti pot actually harboring bacteria, because really the brainstem is really close here when you're clearing those upper nasal passages, and it could be really dangerous, right? I think it was Dr. Oz that called this the triangle of death. Like you should never even pop pimples that are on the skin surface in those spaces, because any infection can actually very quickly cross that brain barrier. So there are horrific stories of people using tap water and getting like the brain eating amoeba, and also bacterial infections because their neti pot had bacteria. So that's why I say the stainless steel is really the best way to go. If this is a practice that you're going to be doing, the stainless steel is the best. But if you're not sure about it, get the plastic one. Just clean it really, really good in between with hot water. Make sure it dries completely in between uses. And then, if eventually you feel like this is going to be something you're going to continue to do, then I would invest in the more expensive. Because the other, I'm going to say it's like $10. I know they have them at Walmart. Amanda says, oh, okay, that's what I missed. The harboring of bacteria, yes. Patty says, good to know how to use it right. Thank you, Patty. So I will be posting the video, and like I said, I'll find that link and I'll post it in the comments if anybody's interested. But I got mine on Amazon. So if there's no more questions, I'm going to close out the video. Any other questions? No? Have a beautiful night. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sharing your most valuable commodity with me, your time and your energy. I love you. You are welcome, Amanda, and you are welcome, Patty. I love you back. Have a beautiful night.